Hi, so here we are at the Global Wellness Summit in Scotland. This is, I think, the 25th, the 20th summit, which is it? 18th. I'm joined by Kathy Chan, who is the managing director for APAC for Finn Partners. And Kathy has been a fixture in the wellness and spa and beauty industry for how many years?
30.
She says in a tired way. So, Kathy, you are releasing a report tomorrow here at the summit. Tell us a little bit about that.
So we're releasing a study called The Future of Wellness Tourism 2025, and we are identifying some of the macro trends shaping the way wellness tourism is going to evolve in the future, right? And the report looks into generational dynamics, market segments, certain movements. It also identifies emerging hotspots, destinations that are giving us a look, kind of a preview of what wellness tourism destinations. Oh, of course. So let me start by one of the key findings we opened the report with is that idea that the industry needs to stop thinking across conventional demographic parameters.
Like not age, really.
Well, it's boomers and it's millennials and it's Gen X. None of these things will matter when we live in a time where your biological age is actually now becoming more important than your chronological age.
That's really interesting.
When lifespan no longer matters as much as health span, when you've got kids in their 20s, 30s taking up behaviors that you normally associate with people in their 50s, and what is the aha moment there? I mean, first of all, the need for us to really rethink the way we create new products and experiences for this particular cohort, this blurring of generational cohorts, I call it, but also the potential for a much longer life cycle or lifespan for product brands. Because if, for example, you've got a 20-year-old that's already measuring her sleep in her 20s, if that technology can stay with her and evolve with her needs through the decades, the lifespan of that particular product becomes stretched even more.
Sure.
So that's what I'm thinking of. So that's the first thing that we said is forget about boomers, forget about millennials, Xers. You hear this kind of cliches over and over again. I think age benders. So age benders, it's not defined so much by age anymore, but it's a state of mind. It's behaviors.
That's very true. And that's a really great observation because we have always been divvied up by how old are you and where you live and what color your skin is. And that's all blurring, all of it.
Of course. When you've got a 65-year-old who feels and behaves like a 30-year-old and has biological age of a 30-year-old, what does that mean?
So how should companies respond to this new trend? Like, how do you change your thinking that has been so ingrained?
Well, I think, look, we've been hearing about this now for quite some time within the hospitality industry, and that is to look more deeply into psychographics and demographics. And understanding the nuances of what that reveals to you, right? So not so much putting cohorts along the lines of age groupings, but more in mindsets in the way we behave.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that the mindsets will be predictable?
Oh, I think so. I mean, definitely when you start seeing what you buy, are you wearing an Oura ring? How do you spend your weekends? What are the media, the key media that you consume? The people that you hold to be heroes in your eyes. Are they longevity doctors? Is it this, amazing doctor talks about menopause? You can identify, the markers are there.
That's really going to be an interesting time then for marketers because
yes,
it will be more complicated. There will be more data,
yeah,
but you might have a more targeted result.
Exactly.
So, Kathy, what is the name of the report?
The Future of Wellness Tourism 2025. And by the end of this week, early next week, you should be able to download it from the Finn Partners website. We talk about a lot of other things in there, like nomadism, this kind of new trend that's coming up, which is basically, the confluence of making sure that our aging population continues to stay productive. And then this notion that we've proven that we can work from anywhere in the world. And this idea of redefining, reimagining what aging looks like. It's not a hard stop, but a series of, life changes. So instead of aging in place, which is the prevailing notion today, as you age, they say they want you to age in place. what's happening is we've got people who are saying, no, I want to do 3 months here. I want to do 3 months there. And what does that mean? The implication on wellness real estate, wellness programming, retreats, we need to be able to allow and to embrace for this type of segment.
I'm getting there myself. And I'm thinking about what you said, how it applies as you're older. When you're younger and you have children and you're in school, you're not going to pick up and go around the world, although people do.
Yeah.
But it is something as you're older and you maybe do want to continue to work and contribute and engage your intellectual self, but you don't want to be in one place.
Be in one place. Because when you look at the aging world right now, I mean, like I said, the prevailing notion is age in place. What we're seeing is a special subset of people who are saying we don't need to commit to a place just yet, and how do we have a lifestyle that allows for us to be, if we want to do 3 months in a farmhouse in Tuscany, we can do that. If we want to go to Copenhagen and work out of Copenhagen and do that, or Mexico, So we need to create new programs, new residential models that allow for short-term temporary stay.
Perfect. Well, we look forward to the details in the report, and thanks for taking time with us. Kathy Chon, Managing Director, APAC for Finn Partners. It's great to see you.
Lovely to see you always, Lisa.
Thank you. Here at the Global Wellness Summit, I'm joined by Dr. Mark Cohen, who has more degrees than most people we know. He is a MBBS, PhD, 2 PhDs, electrical engineering and TCM, as well as he is a medical doctor. And Mark, you are now aligned with Peninsula Hot Springs, as you've been for many years.
For many.
But you are an official...
The medical director.
Medical director.
I think the official title was Director of Medicine, Education, Research, Science and Wellness.
That's a lot of things.
That's a lot of things. I do a lot of things.
But that's why you need all those degrees. Yeah. So, Mark, you're here at the summit, which you've been to many times. You're a founding board member. What are you hoping to learn from this visit here this time?
I'm hoping to just deepen connections with people. I keep on reinventing myself, and I still don't know what I'll do when I grow up. But I've been coming to the summit since it started. This is my 17th summit. I missed last year, which was the first time. But even before that, for 5 or 6 years, we were doing Spa Asia summits and Turning Point summits and Wiesbaden and different events. And I've got this community of wellness professionals around me. And every time I come, I grow my family. And this year's, I've got so many things. I'm working with the Peninsula Hot Springs. We've just created a diploma of hydrothermal wellness, which is an accredited diploma in Australia now.
That's wonderful.
To teach people how to take you through an ice bath, a sauna, relaxation bathing, forest bathing, breath work, mud, clay, essential oils, hydration.
So let me guess, you created the curriculum for that.
Yes.
And so at Peninsula Hot Springs, the staff have the ability to go through that.
So we've just had the first cohort of students. We had 180 applicants for 20 places.
Goodness.
It started 2 weeks ago, and they spend 1 day of the year. It's a full year program at Peninsula Hot Springs, another day at the university, and the rest is online.
And it'll take a year.
It'll take a year. And we have I think there's another cohort starting in July.
Wonderful.
And that curriculum now is approved by the government. So any education institution can run that curriculum. And we have very precise methods of recognition for prior learning. So if you know some of the content and you can do the assessment, you don't have to do the full program.
So tell us about the product you're releasing.
Yeah, well, this was really fun. In the lockdown, I was working with a friend who has a kombucha company. Well, he was telling me that his kombucha fixes everything. And I'm saying, you can't say that. Where's the research? This is before the pandemic, and I was still a research professor at RMIT. And he said, well, look at the research. And I looked at it. There were 300 studies on kombucha in animals and in test tubes, but there were no studies in humans.
What?
And I thought that was totally bizarre. I wrote the standard textbook on herbal medicine in Australia for the last 24 years, which went from 400 to 8 to 12 to 1,600 pages. I'm used to looking at research. And there are obscure herbs that have clinical trials. And kombucha is like a multi-billion-dollar market segment. There's no human trials. So I said to my friend, we should do the research. I know how to do that. And we actually applied. We got a government industry grant. And we did 2 studies. And one was a metagenomics study where we looked at all the different bacteria in commercial kombuchas and the good brew kombucha, which is where ours is based on. And we showed that it has 200 microbial strains and 2.5 times the polyphenols of green tea, which was unexpected. But what happens, we start with green tea, which is already high in polyphenols. And for that reason, kombucha vinegar is more potent than apple cider vinegar because green tea has more polyphenols than apples. And the fermentation process magnifies that. So we did that study on the probiotics and the polyphenol content. Then we did the first ever human clinical trial at the University of Sydney where they really invented glycemic index. And we showed that if you have a glass of kombucha compared to diet soft drink or soda water, you get a 20% reduction in blood sugar and a 15% reduction in insulin response after a meal.
How long does it take to get that response?
30 minutes. And we actually published that for the first time in February last year. So that was the first ever human-controlled trial of kombucha. About 6 months later, another study came out of Georgetown University in America, and they gave kombucha every day to diabetic patients for a month and showed it actually helped control their blood sugar over a month.
Really?
So kombucha is really beneficial. It can actually help with metabolic syndrome and diabetes, although we're not allowed to say that
and
as a food. And
right?
It's probiotic, exactly, for gut health, for immune response, for mood, for a whole lot of mood disturbances. So I got really excited seeing this research. And I said to my friend, I want to go to business with you, but I want a product that I can sell to my global wellness friends. I don't want a cold chain logistics product. And we worked out that if we ferment the kombucha all the way to vinegar, there's no sugar or alcohol left, but the bacteria and yeast stay viable. They form spores. So we had this probiotic vinegar. And because I wrote the textbook on herbal medicine, I designed herbs to infuse in the vinegar. And because I've also done Chinese medicine, I wanted to use
one of your many doctorates.
Yes, I wanted to use the 5 sort of elements. So we combined leaves, roots, flowers, fruits, and fungi, which gives it a very broad flavor profile and polyphenol profile. So you've got the rooty mushroom flavors and the floral fruity flavors. So it really stimulates your brain when you have the vinegars. I think we went to market. Our brand is called Extremely Alive.
Extremely Alive.
Because our products are extremely alive. We went to market in November 2020. And we're in a couple of hundred stores now in Australia. We have distribution nationally in Australia. But they're a vinegar product. No one understands kombucha vinegar. Everyone knows apple cider vinegar. They don't realize kombucha vinegar is more potent. And we've got a following of people who love it because you only have a tablespoon with a meal. We put it into soda water or still water or on your salads.
And can you have it straight?
You can have it, absolutely. You can have it straight. It's actually quite tangy and it's different from other vinegars. So the vinegar that really bites your palate is acetic acid, or the acid is acetic acid, and that's from Acetobacter. Whereas the microbes that we have a lot of Gluconobacter. Gluconobacter makes gluconic acid and glucuronic acid, which is more tart. It's a softer flavor, so it doesn't bite you as aggressively as straight acetic acid would. It's quite pleasant to have as a straight vinegar, but it's still sour. And what we've done just recently is I was looking up ancient medical practices, and what Hippocrates was prescribing when he said, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food, he was referring to honey and vinegar.
Oh, really?
And that's called an oxymel. Oxy means acid, mel means honey. And oxymels were widely prescribed by Hippocrates because you can then add any other herb.
And they had the ingredients.
And you add any other herb. And in the height of the Persian Empire, around 1000 AD, Avicenna, who was the prince of physicians, he had 1,200 recipes for oxymels. So the vinegar and honey is the base, and you add whatever other herb you want for your patient. And then he was actually combining that with contrast bathing, and they call that senotherapy. So here I am, I've got my hot spring world, I've got my herbal world, and they came together with oxymels, thinking, this has just come together through my career path, and it's, I don't know, I'm channeling it.
And you actually didn't discover it. It was already...
Yeah, it was 1,000 years old, or 2,500 years old.
You'll be the person who unites them in modern day.
Yeah, so I call what I do now ancient future medicine. And I refer to medicine that's so simple that our pre-human ancestors used it. And it's so effective that every great medical tradition and every master physician prescribed it. It's so complicated that science can't fully understand it. And so simple you can do it yourself at home with very little cost.
Talk about oxymorons.
Yeah.
So, Mark, where can this product be gotten if someone wants?
So at the moment, we've just launched the Oxymel, the honey vinegar product. And it's a really quite a delicious product. The honey soothes your palate while the vinegar bites your palate.
Oh, you just gave me some to try. And
sweet and sour and bitter. So we're in Australia. We've just launched last week in Australia. We have distribution there. And I'm talking to some groups in London to have European distribution. Eventually, we'll have a global distribution because we have large production capacity and we have access to really amazing honeys from Tasmania. So we have organic Manuka honey and also organic Manuka leatherwood honey, which is really great flavor profile.
And the brand will be the same, Extremely Alive?
Well, we can white label for companies. So we can actually, for a spa chain or someone, if they want to white label, we can send them tankers or
excellent to know. I know many listeners will be interested in that.
We're super happy to do that. But when we've spoken to companies that want to do that, they said, yeah, we want your product, but we want your story. We want to have the history, the research and how you all came together. So we're talking brand discussions because our brand's Extremely Alive. So maybe parent brand with Extremely Alive or powered by Extremely Alive. We're open to, we want to, my mission is to co-create a culture of wellness that infects the world with good health.
I like that.
And this product is literally a wellness culture. It's alive. It will literally infect your body with good health. And we want to share that. In fact, one of our business philosophies and my philosophy in general is I'll make the best products. I'll research it and get the best ingredients and put it out to the market for a fair price. But I'll also explain how you can make it at home yourself for free.
That's nice that you're sharing.
So it becomes very egalitarian because a lot of wellness is very inaccessible to most people. So I'm all about things that can be accessible with very little cost, training or equipment. And I don't know we need to wind up, but I'd love to share a poem with your audience. And this is a poem that I wrote in the pandemic, and I was looking at all the things you could do that would reduce anxiety and improve immunity that had research backing and that could be done at home with very little cost, training or equipment. And I came up with 50 activities. 50 activities. And when I wrote them down, it ended up as a poem. So I call this the way to wellness. Okay, the way to wellness. Hold someone's hand, gaze into their eyes. Go barefoot in nature, bask in sunrise. Choose a dance partner, and go find your groove. Do Tai Chi or yoga and mindfully move. Share a massage, enjoy healing touch. Focus on one thing and don't think too much. Make time for a hobby, play chess, fly a kite. Make use of your hands, draw, paint, sew or write. Help someone in need. Donate to a cause. Play games. Meditate. Read stuff from bookstores. Turn off your screens and get a good sleep. Declutter. Spark joy and love what you keep. Dig around in a garden. Pick up a guitar. Slip into a bathtub, sauna or spa. Care for a pet. Take up a sport. Go on vacation and make your home a resort. Lie in a hammock, relieve pent-up stress. Relax and do nothing, and then do even less. Laugh out loud, share a joke, give someone a kiss, say a prayer, chant a mantra, and follow your bliss.
Amazing.
Very simple.
And I want listeners to know he just said that. He didn't read anything. It was all from the heart.
And if you go to my website, that poem's there. But if you click on any of those activities, it takes you to the research behind it.
Which website? Peninsula Hot
No,
Springs?
Dr. Mark.
Dr.
So
Mark
it's just
Collins.
Dr. Mark. No, just drmark.co. So drmarc.co. And if you look at wellness poems, it's the way to wellness. And that's free. I'm delighted for people to use it. There's a little poster you can download, but you can use it, share it.
That's great.
But
Mark.
more importantly, do it. If you include those activities in your life, that is the way to wellness, because all of those activities are about connecting with other people, with yourself, with nature. And there is research that shows they improve immunity and reduce anxiety.
Well, I know if there's ever a research question I have, you're the guy to ask. So thank you again for joining us, Dr. Mark Cohen, MARC Cohen. Check out his website, drmark.co. And let's enjoy the rest of the summit. And we'll wait for that kombucha vinegar.
Thanks so much, Lisa.
Back at the summit, I'm here with Don Genders, the CEO of Design for Leisure, which most of you know has created dozens, hundreds of the best saunas and steams and thermal areas in hotels and spas around the world. Don, you're here at your 15th summit, I see from your tag. And you've had some great news in the last week with collaborations and new business. Would you care to elaborate for us?
Yes, it's been a very exciting week for us. We've been planning this collaboration for some months now, and ever since the Kohler company acquired Klafs, our German sauna partner, and we've had an association with Klafs for
Many years.
30 years.
Fine.
And so the acquisition of Klafs by Kohler meant that all of a sudden, how
do you fit into the equation?
American market, which we have been looking after for Klafs as their partner for 20 years. And so we sat down with Kohler and we had the most wonderful meetings. And we agreed very quickly that we could all move forward together with very few changes. And it's been a wonderful collaboration the last few months of getting a little agreement together so that we could carry on doing business the way we have always done business, making sure there was room in the marketplace within the United States for Kohler to do what they plan to do with the business. And then together we can collaborate. And I think that's the most exciting part of it is the fact is that, we do what we do, Kohler do what they do, and now we're going to come together and collaborate.
I think it's really significant that they realized, they purchased Klafs, but they have no history in the sauna business as Klafs does. And it is complicated, as you've noted on other episodes of my podcast. Water is complicated and it's not a thing you can just hand a manual to someone and they know how to do it. So it's wonderful that they're going to take your years of knowledge and experience and make the Klafs product in the US even better for your contributions.
Yeah. Yes, I think that was something. Obviously, there were some scary moments when this first got announced. And in fairness, the Klafs, they were wonderful partners. They told us all on what was happening and when it was happening, and so it
wasn't a surprise for you.
It wasn't a total surprise. We knew about it in advance, and we were able to sort of plan for the future. And I think that it's great for us because we have a company like Kohler who love to innovate and come up with new ideas. And we are going to be part of that innovation with them going forward. So we will help them and they will help us. And I think that, I think it's great. It's a great meeting of minds and we're really excited about it.
What kind of things do you hope to gain from being part of the Kohler ecosystem?
Well, I think the great thing is that they are going to go to market in a totally different way to the way we've gone to the market, and they're going to open up new avenues within the market and new opportunities for people to acquire sauna within their lives. And I think for us that's just exciting because we know the benefits, the health benefits, and quite frankly, we've never had the time to be able to go out and preach that because we're so busy, running a business. So to a certain extent, having somebody with the clout that Kohler have and the respect that they have coming into the marketplace means that they can achieve things that we could never achieve. They can reach parts of the market that we can never achieve, and they can get the message out far more effectively than we could ever do. So I think that's what we find exciting.
Sounds like it'll be ideal situation.
We're hoping so. And we just bought a new building in Texas and 12,000 square feet to plan as part of what we think is going to happen. We're going to build a training center. We're going to have a showroom there. We need to take on more staff. We've already started that process because we know there was going to be quite a significant impact from this new collaboration and partnership.
So it seems that the interest in bathing and sauna and thermal culture has not abated at all since COVID.
On the contrary, it's now looking like COVID was actually the catalyst, created interest, and of course people began to enjoy it. And then therefore, when you do enjoy something, you tell people about it. And that I think is what we've seen is this explosion of the bathhouse movement. Now, I saw it coming. I predicted it. I think one of the trends for the Global Wellness Institute probably 8 years ago. And so maybe it's been a bit slower to move. Maybe COVID, of course, it did come in the middle there. But I think that what we really are seeing is this whole movement towards look, we've heard this week about some of the wonderful stuff that in the sessions we've heard at the conference about the connection, the human connection, the social wellness side of it. The fact that people are looking the younger people are looking for something that doesn't involve nightclubs and alcohol. And I think the bathhouse movement is beginning to fill that gap. The big thing is as well, it's all part of the mental wellness thing, is it? Because you feel good, this wonderful euphoria you feel through contrast bathing, that's your buzz. You don't need the booze.
For sure. I think young people have needed something to do that didn't involve alcohol. It's communal, it's social, and people are so hungry for that after being sequestered in COVID to do things fun together. What better? So you predicted it. You didn't predict a pandemic, but I agree. I think the pandemic helped in a way.
Well, I think it helped
A weird way, but
well, yeah. What happened was, I think everyone had plenty of time to sit on Google, and let's put it this way: COVID spread because it got through the immune system, and that was, and then therefore everybody was looking, what can I do to boost my immune system? And Google already had that information in there. It was just the fact that people were finding that information. So of course, all of this sort of immunity boosting activity was getting way up to the front page of all the Google searches. So of course, more people were finding it more easily. And it was, we were getting inquiries all over the place about saunas and of course, the lead times of saunas, because factories were working at distance and working 24 hours and 3 8-hour shifts and trying to do as much as they could to produce. But the demand was exponential. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. And we're seeing the whole thing with those who can afford it, taking responsibility for their personal wellness by adding thermal and contrast bathing to their lifestyle by putting home spas in. But the other end of the scale is the bathhouse boom with the people, the other ships and the bathhouse people and the remedy place to maybe to a lesser extent, but making social wellness available at very, very affordable prices. And so it's had the effect of democratizing wellness as well, which has been fantastic because it just makes it available to more.
yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think from the spa perspective of someone like you who has worked decades in the industry, it's really nice to have something new to talk about and see developed. And let's see what happens. It's bringing people back.
Yes,
into the space.
No, I think it's right. I mean, when you think about the session we just watched now by Terry Stevens, and Terry's an old friend of mine, and I've known him a great number of years, and he lives in the town that I grew up in. So, but with Terry going on about all these community-based activities of getting people to into sport by playing walking football or soccer, or walking netball, and all of a sudden, you've got people who thought their entire sporting life was long behind them, and they're suddenly coming back into the sports arena and enjoying sport again. And I think he mentioned somebody 82 years of age playing walking soccer.
I wish we'd had a video. I would like to see what that looks like, walking soccer. Have you played it?
No, I haven't. No, it's
it'll be on the list now.
Yeah. Oh no, look for it. Yeah.
So, what other things have you heard here at the summit, Don, that have raised your attention?
I think it's been going on for a few years through the summit, but I think that there's been a great or a more emphatic connection made between mental health and mental wellness, and I think that from our point of view, we are seeing the connection of the mental health and mental wellness filtering through into the thermal bathing arena. It's not surprising because thermal bathing makes you feel good. So and then a lot of people talk me the dopamine moments and everything else and the little trigger points and all of that. So it doesn't surprise me that this has happened. And I mean, if you look at the other ship model that Robbie Bent started when he started in his garage as a way of helping addictions or helping people with addictions, it was never meant to be a business model. But it's grown into the most phenomenal business and an incredibly successful one. again, but it was making it available to all. I mean, even now in the heart of New York City for, $33 a session, I mean, you can't do much in Manhattan for $33,
No, Robbie was actually on the StarCast podcast a few weeks ago, and he told the whole story about it from starting in his garage. And it was just fascinating to see what it has become. I was able to go to Othership and try it in New York, and it is a very unique experience. But all bathhouses are different, have their nuances, but he's put a new spin on it.
Yes, he has. But I think that, look, all businesses have a personality. All businesses have a character. And that character is built by the passion of the owners in most instances. And so people come to the same business through different journeys. And consequently, they bring something different to every business. So and it's right that all these businesses have their own personalities. If they were just all sort of like a franchise model and they were all copies and identical, and you walk into one McDonald's and you get exactly the same burgers you get at another McDonald's. But I don't think people want that. People want experiences, and they want the experience to be different. And I think that's where this whole way our industry is going is so exciting. And I mean, hell, if I can't break all these NDAs, but if I told you all of the ideas we've got coming to us in projects, all standalone bathhouses, nothing hospitality-based at all.
Fascinating.
People have got some fantastic ideas. And that excites me because it's all stuff we've never done before.
Well, I'm glad it sounds like you've gotten some inspiration here at the Global Wellness Summit. Well, it was great to see you, Don, as always. And we can't wait to see what you create next.
Yeah, got some surprises for you.
Okay,
thank you, Lisa.
Hi, so back at the Global Wellness Summit, I'm here with Erin Lee. Erin is the founder of Touchless Wellness, so you've probably all seen her on webinars and on LinkedIn promoting touchless wellness through her initiative of the Global Wellness Institute. She is also a heat experience consultant here in the UK, and she calls herself a halotherapy enthusiast, which I can attest to because she's carrying around a halotherapy pump. Erin, thank you for joining us.
Oh, you're very welcome, Lisa.
So we're here at, where are we? St. Andrews, the Old Course Hotel, second summit for you.
Yes.
This summit is sold out with 500 people, and it certainly feels that way. What has stood out to you, Erin, in terms of the conference, what you have learned from speakers?
Well, it has been a jam-packed 3 days of speakers, information, and networking. I always love the start of each day with Louis' videos. It's a very heartwarming, emotional moment, I think, for a lot of people. But for me, the reinforcement from a lot of the speakers about how democratization of wellness is actually really important, making it more accessible, both from an age point of view, but also from a wealth point of view. There's been a lot of highlighting of social wellness and connectivity, which I think we can all see how, and even an event like this, how everybody's energy is very uplifting because we're all together and we all have this, amazing common vision of helping others. And then the whole back to nature as well. So embracing nature, going back to our roots, switching off, ditching the tech.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very nice to talk about that here at this setting, the old course in front of us, the ocean out there, beautiful skies. We've had nice weather, but it is so nice to be with your tribe, as it were, right? I mean, we have 500 people here from around the world. Some of us only see each other once a year at this event, but also meeting new people. Have you met any new contacts that you were hoping to?
Well, I have met mostly new people, I think. As you say, 500 people, all with a common vision and goal. But, people from all sorts of countries, fascinating, learning about what they're doing. And, it's really inspiring as well to see what's going on in other countries, other areas of the wellness industry. Lots and lots of really great new connections, which I hope we can continue to stay in touch with beyond these 3-4 days.
Have you gotten any new ideas while you were here for, some business focus that you might undertake in 2025?
Absolutely. That's been a very inspiring event, and I've been having some wonderful conversations about collaborations and I think 2025 is going to be a great year. So I think the theme watershed moment has definitely applied.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you said that about the theme, our watershed moments. So just give me a little info on the UK spa scene in general. What are you seeing in your consulting? Anything new? Any trends that you've noticed?
I have seen a lot more talk about making it more accessible, and whether that's age, price, or even just removing those barriers. So we are seeing smaller facilities maybe opening up, or spas just opening their doors a bit more to walk-ins or people wanting to come in for the day. And I think that's great because we can't all travel to a destination. So to be able to have things in closer proximity to us.
That'll be very helpful. Do you think that the average person in the UK is after wellness? Do the consumers understand what it is and want it?
I think there's still a big education piece to be done on wellness, but obviously with COVID or the pandemic, everybody's awareness was heightened about wellness, and I think there's definitely more of an emphasis on prevention and preventative health. So I think people are now starting to look at seeking these alternative therapies and treatments and experiences in order to improve their own health and wellness before waiting to go and, be fixed once you get sick.
I'm smiling thinking of the lectures we've had this morning so far. We've been told to sleep more and drink less, which are not new concepts to us, right? We know that. But it's how do you make it happen with people? How do we connect with them in a way that makes them want to actually take that action?
Absolutely. I think the more we talk about it, the more people see it, the more they will start to realize it. I'm sure for all of us here with the jam-packed 3-4 days as well, we've even felt, how important sleep is as well.
And lack thereof, so to speak. All right, great. Well, thanks for joining us, Erin Lee.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa.
So now we're joined by Charles Davidson, all the way from down under in Australia. Charles is the co-founder and group chair of Peninsula Hot Springs, which is the largest hot springs development. I don't know. Is it in the world? Certainly in Australia. Charles, this is your how many 10th summit?
Yeah.
Here we are in Scotland. What has stuck out to you at this summit that you've enjoyed hearing about?
I love the conversation around regeneration, about connection, about, I think co-creation is on its way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as feeling that there is a whole lot of hardware out there, wellness hardware, the hotels, the resorts, the locations, the mountains, the sea, even the activities we're doing here. We're starting to get into this software side, but there's a lot of hardware, the fire and ice, the music, the dance. I think that this summit has really helped us come into culture, and that's very deep in Scotland.
It's very deep everywhere, right? But I think what's great here is that you have 500 people who are like-minded, all here. They're in different industries or niches, and yet for a common purpose of promoting wellness in some way around consumers around the world. And you see the opportunities as the dots get joined up in the various speeches and presentations, one of which will be yours shortly. To speak to the co-creation part that you mentioned, how do you see that working for us?
I think there's the ability to move from this hardware to software. And I think the software is actually in the minds of all the people that are there. And as you say, 500 people, 500 minds who, to a large degree, walk down their path alone. It is sort of that together alone idea. It comes from our phones. It comes from our own dreaming. And I think the opportunity is going to be to lean into other people's stories in a larger way or a smaller way, but just leaning into each other's stories and co-creating a wellness future. I think the only way that we can break through the noise of society, of the wars, the famines, the climate change, the noise that's out there that distracts everybody, is to get people in touch with their senses. And I think to make sense of what we're doing, we have to be able to have a varied perspective. They say a varied perspective is the key to perception. And for us to perceive the story of wellness, we have to actually co-create it through our varied perspectives. And to have 500 perspectives, it actually gives us a statistical advantage because we'll be able to see much more than we can individually.
So does co-creating take partnering a step further? I mean, what's the difference?
Money is very important. It's an enabler. It allows our stories to grow. And so it is vital. But I think if we can, some things that are just from the heart and we give it, but what we give back. So if, for example, we've been talking about creating these wellness retreats and doing a sample one in Australia and New Zealand, moving from the down to earth in Australia, where you're going to be taking your shoes off and putting your feet in the sand, putting your feet into the ground. And that's down to earth in Australia. And then we're going to take off on a flight to New Zealand, to the land of the long white cloud. And there we're going to be able to be up in the sky, in the mountains and by the waterways and connect the earth and the sky. And if we can create a beautiful retreat based on our collective knowledge, then I think we can do the same thing, learn from that, and then amplify that around the world. So it can happen in all of our countries. It can happen anywhere where we actually create this co-creative model and it comes back home to everybody because we'll bring it home. And that homecoming, it's take me home.
I love the idea of leveraging groupthink, and I often employ that. I think that all the minds are better than just one in the room, and it makes everyone feel like they're participating and they have more stake in it that way. And it evolves, right? It takes on a life of its own, which is also fun.
Totally. Life is about doing. It's actually defined by what we do and how we do it. But it's not just a thought. It actually is an action. I always said actions speak louder than words. And if by doing something together, we are able to have an outcome, a collective outcome, we all are uplifted. And by having more people on rather than less, and it might just be a like on a Facebook page, might be a whatever page it is, it might just be as simple as that. But knowing you've been seen and knowing that you are looking, so we are all looking in the mirror, then I think there's an opportunity to make sense of life itself because, we get it by having connection.
That's solving some deep issues there. It's interesting here at the summit, and there are so many people and you're sitting in sessions, but as the summit goes on, we start to go out to get coffee or whatever, and you start to have conversations. And many people today on the third day have been saying, oh, we wish we could just do this all day, right? Not have, we need the entertainment, the education, but just a day to meet, which is the kind of thing you could do on the retreat that you're thinking of, like really get down into deep issues and use those great brains together.
And moving from place to place, walking country, literally, as I was saying, take your shoes off and walk the country. For me, wellness is a feeling of wholeness and happiness. And that's something which we can all attain when we're together. Because if you don't have that connection, that human connection, and that connection with the other, the ether, the earth, wind, fire and water, all the elements and all the senses, and it needs to have that senses and elements combination to actually make people feel it, a feeling of wholeness and happiness.
Well said. I look forward to hearing more about that. So can you tell us a little bit about what's happening in Australia in terms of wellness? Peninsula reopened after COVID. I know you had some difficulties, open, close, but it's been quite busy, is my understanding, since then. What are you seeing in the Australian consumer in terms of what they're searching for wellness?
Togetherness. I think what we've got, if you can create a place, the spaces where people can be, then they're finding their wellness. I came to our place the other day into the Moroccan tent, and I noticed, in fact, it was 2 days in a row, and there was this group, maybe 50, 60 ladies, mixed ages, maybe from their late 30s up to the 70s and 80s. And I went up and I said, where are you from? And they said, oh, we're from Iraq. They live in Australia, but their heritage is Iraq. And I said, are you the same group as yesterday? They go, no, that's another group. That was a different, these sort of church groups. And they were there and they were singing and having fun and they were connecting and they would just use the space. They were in the Moroccan tent and they just were at home. If we can get people to those cultures to come together. So that was an Iraqi group. But we had, you walk around, you see Indian groups, Chinese groups. We deliberately built our place to be able to have bathing experiences that are familiar. So we have reflexology walks for the Chinese. We have the cold plunge falls for the Russians and the saunas, but that's for the Russians and Scandinavians. We have the clay areas. So more aesthetic fun for the creative people who want to actually, and we paint the clay on people's bodies so they can laugh. And we've got multicolours. So you're actually using body art. We do sand art where people reflect on their dreams and they draw it in the sand. It's ephemeral. It allows people, instead of having a dream diary, which is actually quite confronting for some people and difficult, if you just grab a stick and draw your picture in the sand, you know it's going to be gone.
Right. Exactly. Or water and very soon.
Very soon. And so it's so easy for people to release their dream and put it into some perspective and be able to explain their dreams. So there's things like that. So I think, that it's finding places for people to connect. This is where the bathhouses are booming. And I think that's right around, America. Or around the world.
Around the world.
Yeah. And it's because people crave real connection. I like to think of hot springs and our sector as offering a reality experience in an increasingly virtual world. And the more virtual the world gets, AI and computers and our devices and everything else that we're surrounded by, we feel disconnected and we crave connection. And we need to have those experiences and lead people in those experiences that help them connect to each other, themselves, and the environment. And, they've got to stop and listen and look. When you lie in a pool, you actually have some time. The bird will come past and land on the side of the bath. You have ducks that come into the bath. So they swim through it, and you're sitting there, you go, oh, get that. Because people stop. And if you stop long enough, you start to watch.
That's a great point. Well, thank you, Charles Davidson, for bringing that opportunity to so many people in your community. And hopefully you'll open some more hot springs in other parts of the world. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Lisa.